Sooner Nation, Sooner fans, Sooner everybody, even the Orange Bloods that are in here. My goodness, guys, what did we just witness? I don't necessarily know if we made the statement that we wanted to, but I will say, people, we got us a really good football team. Got some things
Hold
to
on.
clean up, obviously, but we got a really good football team. Y'all know when I put on the hat, when I put on the glasses, when I do any of this stuff, y'all know I'm turned. I'm turned to the max. Chris Mason, Jason, how y'all feeling, man? Y'all feeling good?
Big win. Big win.
Look, look.
Massive win. When you think about, I'll put my little quick recruiting spin on it. If you were Peyton Houston tonight, I want to be the next John Mateer. If you were some of the big defensive tackles at the game tonight, that defense played and flew to the ball, and if 43
Aside from that
tough
one
hits.
play, they were great. Aside from one play, they were great.
Yeah, I mean, and that happens.
So
But overall, I just felt like it's a massive win, and we have some momentum moving forward.
let's
Momentum is returned to Norman.
let's start there and let's go ahead and just get that out of the way. Pretty much well, we'll talk about that in special teams. Only icky vicky vibes that I got from this game was just, hey, we got to clean some things up on the special teams unit. Got to tell guys, hey, you don't have to try to make a play every single time. It's good. Just field the ball. Let's go from there. Same time, Nesta, we don't have to get the block, especially when we have them pinned down there. We just need to field the ball. Satania, I get it. We don't need G Freaky again. We just need you when it's clean, when it's clear. Do what you need to do. But other than that, just field the ball, fair catching, and let's give our offense a chance to actually be explosive. Let's give you a chance to be explosive in an offense.
But
When it comes to the defense, seems like it sounds like from everywhere. No, being in the stadium or whatnot, people, it was amazing in the stadium tonight. Shout out to the OU faithful that were there, and all OU faithful for that.
oh yeah,
But again, it was just a thing of misalignment. I think they said it earlier. We heard it on a lot of podcasts, and you heard it here as well. BV's defense is defense that if you take care of your job, you will eat. You will have a chance to be around the ball, be near or around the ball, and be able to just do your job. That's all that you have to do, and you will look outstanding in that. But we gave up that 75-yard rush. But outside of that, guys, I felt like we did good. Anything that you guys want to add to that as far as just kind of those two negatives of the game? Because
I mean, we
I
could
think we got
talk
a lot
about the
of good to get
negatives a
to.
little bit. Yeah,
Okay,
I mean, we could talk about the negatives if you want to, but the thing is that despite those negatives, I mean, that could have turned into a rout. Oklahoma could have stepped on their neck earlier, those kind of things. But the truth is, when you needed them to come up with a big run, we've been hearing people complaining about the offensive line. We've been hearing people complain about the running backs. Javante Barnes, he's back in should be back in everybody's good graces tonight because of three big runs of that huge catch. But listen, 7.5, 8 minute drive to cap that thing off with points was as big as you possibly could be. And they went down there and they played Michigan football style for that one. And that
Mhm.
was huge. For you to go down there and get yards when you needed them, tough yards, running hard through trash, and be able to go down there and put points on the board.
Mhm.
Listen, that's huge, man. These are the things that we were talking about before. You've got to get one of these damn kind of wins where, it's tight, you don't play your best, and you find a way to win it anyway. And we have not seen Oklahoma do that in a while now. And this could be a big stepping stone towards the future.
Chris Mason, before you go, I just want to say Zovix pointed out again that 16 play game clinching drive versus Michigan took 8 minutes and 27 seconds off the clock. Unbelievable. That's something
There
that
was a
we.
Yeah, there was a dude sitting with me. It's actually his son plays for the Sooner baseball team, and
Uh,
he was sitting there right near me, and he was like, it was like 9 minutes and 50 something seconds left, and he said they got to get some time off the clock right here. Just run the clock, and I was like, you got it. next thing you know, it's under 2 minutes or under 3 minutes left, and they've got points on the board.
Dare I say the game management has gotten better. Chris Mason, what's up, man?
Well, I would say first we saw complimentary football tonight, right?
Yep.
Every time the offense needed to do something to support the defense, they did it for the most part. That drive that you guys are talking about is the epitome of complimentary football.
Yes.
Choke the clock and only force the defense to have to make one closing, one series to close things out. And I guess the other thing I would say is there's meat on the bone. It's not like we got 4 turnovers tonight. Michigan just was completely incompetent. This was a very good game by OU, but we lost the turnover battle 2-0. We missed a field goal, a makeable field goal. I mean, if Kanik could have caught that ball in the end zone and put us up 28, that game is probably out of hand. So there's more to go. And I feel like, and maybe I'm being too homerish, but we just had a big win. If we can keep those 5 guys that the offensive line started tonight, if we can build that group game over game, by our October stretch, I think our offensive lines will be playing a lot better.
We're gonna have to establish the run going forward. But guys, I think that we can. I think that I didn't see anything I didn't like from Ott tonight. I thought Ott was solid when he got a chance. I think that I just want to give him a chance to hopefully next week versus Temple, or maybe it comes against Kent State, where we can open up lanes for him to just feel comfortable in the offense, right? Just feel comfortable, feel good again. I think Blaylock is really good. Would love to see X-Rob out there, but as we're getting healthier going forward, hey, I'm excited. Biggest thing, guys, that I'm really excited about, we're 2-0, and we're 2 wins away from going 4-0 into the bye week. When you're a college athlete, one of the biggest things that you can do, one of the best things you can do, is go into a bye weekend, or whatever you want to call it. You can go into that undefeated. That way you can rest, get guys back, kind of just take a breather, take a second to let it all sink in, and then get right back to it. It's one of the best feelings. Staying with that offensive line, Jason and Chris Mason, just what were your overall thoughts about the O-line? Chris Mason, if you don't mind, I'll let you start. Tell us who all started. Obviously, I know Michaela was out there, and I just felt like that gave us a good boost. Go ahead.
Yeah, so it was Fasusi, Ozetta, Michaela, Nwewu, and Dennis Simmons. Yeah, that's right. And that was it. And then we saw a little bit of Howland. Howland came into the game and pinch hit a little bit. But overall, I felt like the O-line gave Mateer a chance to make plays. We used the QB run game to complement the fact that Michigan no one's going to run on Michigan this year. They're just not going to do it.
No, you're not going to do it.
I mean, the 2 guys they lost, the 2 Grahams or whatever, they got that big kid from Clemson, Trey Williams, and they've got other guys behind him, and they've got, and they're Derek Moore, their defensive end. He should have been a Sooner. He's a really good player. So I felt like the O-line did a good job. I mean, it's nearly 400 yards of offense. It's over 400 yards of offense, and we should have put up at least 27 points tonight. And that's all offensive points. That's not like defensive aided, turnover aided, special team aided. And again, I think the ceiling is there for that O-line group if we can keep it healthy, game over game, as they get used to each other. I think, Fasusi in 3 games is going to be so much better, right? Michigan got some pressure on him, but I felt like that's an offensive line. I think OU can win football games.
Definitely.
Go ahead, Jason.
I just think definitely, Dave, you saw some push in places that, we heard so much last week that they weren't getting a push against an FCS line. They weren't. What you saw a lot of, if you were paying attention to some of the film and some of the, like, film guy was talking about it, a lot of what it was is that you were missing the blocks that you're supposed to be getting. So you didn't get the right guy kicking out. or he chose the wrong spot to block in or whatever. But tonight they were cleaning it up. They were hitting hard. And look, you're not going to get a lot of running yards, just like what Chris Mason just said. You're not going to get a ton of rushing yards, in between the tackles. And we kept going between the damn tackles, And so the thing is, when you got those hard yards at the end, it was important, And Mateer being just the guy that he is, man, this dude is a straight up dog. He wants to, he doesn't care what it's going to take and what you want him to do to get the yardage. He's going to go get it, He's going to go get it. And so to me, I think that, yeah, man, I think that as you get more continuity there, if you can keep these guys healthy. Did I hear wrong that Fasusi might have gotten dinged up at the end or something? I don't know.
Yeah, he got banged up a little bit. I think no one's saying anything anything. He should be okay.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's good news because man, for him to come out there and play the way he did early, I thought it was great. Listen, I love what Jaren Kanak has brought to this team at the H-back tight end position, whatever you want to call it.
Mm-hmm.
That drop notwithstanding, I mean, he's a problem. He's a damn problem. And then Deion Burks, huge game. There were guys sitting. I was around a lot of Michigan fans tonight.
Same.
A lot of them.
Same.
And there were dudes right away saying that dude ain't good against good teams. That dude ain't good against good teams until he was. So there was
Jason,
it was fun.
let me jump in here real quick and let me break this down for the people. Tonight again, I think that we were a couple of special teams plays away from really opening this thing up and really taking them to the woodshed. But here's the thing. No disrespect to Michigan. Michigan's a good football club. We have a chance to meet them down the line. Everything is in front of us, people, right now. But we're not going to jump ahead. It's one game at a time. Got to be ready for the 11 a.m. kickoff next week. I believe against Temple. We'll go from there. But I want to break it down for the people, okay? But before that, like, subscribe, do all those different things to all three channels. Horns Down Podcast, Hall of Fame College Football Podcast with Jason and the coach, and Sooners 360 with Mr. Chris Mason. Guys, what I want to tell you is simply this right here. Michigan was a great litmus test, yet again, one of the first midterms that we're going to have, right? Auburn will be the second half of that midterm. But when I saw Michigan come out there, I said, that looks like a damn good-looking football team. We got on the field, and I thought, okay, well, maybe our wide receivers will be a little bit small. No. Whatever we pay for those wide receivers, our wide receivers are legit. Our wide receivers are really good athletes, and they compete. And it's only going to get better. That's the problem. Whenever you can add a Javonte Gibson to that room, I believe, and then get Kearney a little bit more reps, different things like that, maybe Elijah Thomas, dude, you're deep at a lot of spots. I think that the run game is going to be fine. I do. I don't expect us to have maybe 1,000-yard rusher this year, but I think by committee, Blaylock, Ott, and hopefully, I thought Javonte Barnes had one of his finest days of the Sooner today. Offensive line, perfectly fine, and pass pro, run blocking, yes, there's still some things you want to fix. I would like to point out that defensively, I thought that we played a great game defensively, man. Outside of that one bust, thought they played a great game. I'll tell you somebody who flashed on the defense today, and it's a name we're all familiar with, David fucking Stone. David Stone was out there balling tonight.
Damn right.
Cortland Guillory, if you see this clip or anything, all I would say to you, hey, chill being on the sideline with them and stuff like that. We don't want any crazy penalties, but I love the aggression. I love that you brought the physicality to them and made them react to you. Love it. Gentry out there, great athlete, able to run, able to do all those different things. I thought the secondary played well. I thought there wasn't necessarily ever a worry. But hats off to the D-line, who I put as my MVP, the D-line. They made life easier on everybody. Got to give a shout out to another guy who I think is putting himself in contention to hopefully get a real combine invite. Marvin freaking Jones. He was elusive tonight. You cannot hold on to him. He was popping open early. Taylor Wine looked good.
Hey, Chris, what about Owen Heineke, bro?
I was about to get to him. Owen Heineke. I leaned over to my aunt in the stands. I texted one of my friends and I said, he damn sure ain't no Brian Mead. That's a guy. So when people come to me and they want to talk about linebacker depth, I say, ha ha, no.
Well,
got depth.
You remember it's his uncle, right? Corey?
Yeah.
I mean, his uncle Corey was basically out there in our national championship year playing D-end with just guile, grit, every cliche you want to use, being out on that D-line. So are you shocked that, apple tree, apple, exactly, all that? So
one more guy, Kendall Daniels.
Yeah.
Kendall Daniels is playing like, hey, I gotta go to the NFL this year. I cannot take no for an answer from anybody. I got to play.
Man, I love that guy. I love that guy.
Can you imagine that being able to just basically put in Dolby as well alongside all? I mean, it's the possibilities are there, people. And the thing is that I think the defense has another gear. I think the offense has two more gears to get to. But I think this defense has a chance to go from elite to special overnight. Not trying to say that we're going to go out here and win the national championship. Not even saying we're going to make the playoffs.
There's plenty of room before that. But
yes. Go ahead.
No, there's a lot of things you got to get to before you get that. I'm not ready to talk about any of that. Mm-hmm. No Mateer Heisman stuff, none of that shit. That's second half of the year talk.
Yeah.
But I tell you what, this is the way we talked about it. How important it was to get this win. You had to find a way to serve at home for sure. You can't afford to be losing these games at home. You can't. And so to go out there and be able to button down against the team that, look, they were, the one thing about Michigan is you did not see that kid crumble under pressure. And he was getting pressure. Bryce Underwood was able to keep from turning the ball over. You had some missteps that really could have put you in a bad position, but it didn't really do anything but galvanize this team. These are the kind of things that, you can, when you don't have your A game and you still find a way to get it done. They went up against a team that is a trench team. They're going to beat you at the line of scrimmage, and they beat them at their own game when they had to. Yeah, Kendall Daniels, dude, that guy, they established real early on that, hey, you're not going to push us around. You're just not going to do it. And so to be able to do that, to me, was as big as anything, man. And, yeah, man, I think this defense, I hated that long because I just got done saying, I was like, this defense is legit and was telling them they're elite. And then they break off an 80-yard run, and I'm like, oh, son of a. But I tell you, though, the thing is, you look at it and say, okay, then they just clamp back down and shut them up.
They didn't go on tilt, right? They didn't go on tilt. To your point, Jason, it was a bad play, it was a mistake, but they locked it down, moved on, and played great defense the rest of the second half. So, I mean, we gave up 13 points. I mean, and if we can do, that's a Michigan team. I think this win will look good 5 games from now. 5 weeks from now, this win will look really good.
Yeah, and it all starts here real quick, Mr. Mason, before I give the mic back to you. Hank is saying Underwood's going to be a problem in the future. True Okie 22 says Underwood will be a problem later this year and moving forward. Yes, no, I think that kid is going to be nice when they really open up that offense even more. Yeah, they're gonna be a tough out for a lot of teams this year because they're only gonna get better. Chris Mason.
They ran some slick plays too. Chip Lindsey's. I think that we saw some things from them for their future that you see and you're like, whoa. He can do some things that you haven't really seen, even from J.J. McCarthy. I mean, J.J. was a good player, but you haven't even seen that kind of stuff from him. This is a true freshman we're talking about. To not turn over the ball and still, but they kept him in check. You know, they kept him from doing. He's going to get his at some point, but they didn't let him beat him, and that was, to me, to be able to finally, you clamp down on them at the end. And really, do they get 100 yards if not for that 80-yard run? Probably not.
If they didn't have the big run, of course they do, so you can't take it apart. But if they don't, they're like 32 carries for 75 yards tonight. That's how much that big run, improved their stats. And obviously, it did that. So we're not pretending it didn't occur. But
I'm not saying it didn't occur, but I'm saying that's not. I mean, it was a mistake.
Exactly,
and that was
exactly.
it.
Yeah. But if I thought the defense again. I think the defense has another gear. I think the offense has 2 or 3 gears. By the way, someone asked about Fasusi. I just saw a post where he's at the post game saying he's completely fine, which is good to hear. I think that offensive line that we started tonight. Is if we can keep that offensive line playing week on, week off, and I think Howland is a good piece to add in there. I think Foji and maybe EPL can give us some interior, and then if we can keep that line going, I think that line by the time we hit maybe Rocky Top, that line is playing really well, and I honestly think. I don't know about you guys, but maybe it's controversial. I think Blaylock is going to be our leading rusher for this year. I
don't necessarily think that's controversial.
I was going to say, what the hell's controversial about that?
Yeah. Okay, all right, maybe it's not controversial. So I think Blaylock. Barham, Jason Barham is a beast to pull down Blaylock on that. We should have had that touchdown. Blaylock gets in against most linebackers other than Barham, who's just a beast, and the NFL is going to draft him as that. I think Blaylock, by the time we get to Rocky Top, I think Blaylock's our number 1 running back, and he's putting yards up. He's putting yards up in games.
Just understanding the offense. Guys, I'm going to jump into a comment right here. Shout out to Topher B. Shout out to Stevie G, always showing up and always having great commentary in the chat, things to add. Topher B says, with that win, BV got a statement win at home over a really good team. That gets a little better taste compared to last year. Recruiting from this win, just gonna say, buckle up. And hey, look, that to me, going into this game, and I think we talked offline about this, and I talked to several other people that would hear me out. This game, it had all the makings of the Tennessee game last year. It was just a simple fact that you brought an offense here today, right? That you were able to run a competent offense and go out there and look good doing it. Did it look pretty all the way through? No, but you got the job done. To me, when we were in the Uber headed back, I looked at my uncle and I said, hey, man, I said, who this was a big night for? And he said, who? I said, Arbuckle and Mateer. And he said, of course it was. I said, no, it was a big night for them because I guarantee you, if you told them last year while they were at Washington State playing Texas Tech in the second game and they beat them, I guarantee you if you would have told them, hey, you're going to be at OU next year playing under the lights at the Palace and you're going to beat Michigan with this offense, I think that they would have said, you're lying, but if that opportunity came, we would be prepared. And I think that's something that I'm really happy about, especially for those two guys. It looks like it's going to pay off. Got to be consistent. Got to keep it going. Looks like it paid off. We shall see.
Well, a lot of people, just to pat myself on the back a little bit, when the OC search was going on back in December, I was telling you guys, Mateer and Arbuckle is who we want. Lots of folks are talking about Mensa and the Tulane guy and all these other folks. And can anybody really disagree? I don't think it's Mateer was the right guy to get. It is so obvious that was the right move. And getting his offensive coordinator, I think Buckle showed himself to be, that's a hire. Both those hires are panning out right now. We'll call Mateer a hire because that's basically what it was. Both those guys, the difference between this and the Tennessee game last year is we have John Mateer and not Jackson Arnold. I don't mean to bash the kid, but it's just the difference between the two is just it is a significant gap. It's a chasm between the two.
Yes.
I mean, leadership, play calling, Arbuckle over Arbuckle instead of Seth Luttrell or Joe John Finley or whatever the hell.
It's night and day. It's night and day different. You're right. And I've been saying this a lot, that we had to find – look, I think that Michael Hawkins will bring all the stuff to the table you want him to bring, but the truth is you've had to have a guy like this to re-inject confidence into this program, a level of swagger and belief in yourself that you have not seen in a while. And that includes the 10-3 season when, they inexplicably lose after, 2 games after beating Texas. You go out there and lose 2 games in a row, and it's, you saw shakiness from Dylan Gabriel and Jeff Levy's play calling even. You really did. But, shout out to them going and making this pickup, because when you go and you get Mateer and you get Arbuckle, you brought something to this program that it sorely, sorely needed. And it's not only injected confidence into the offense, it's injected it into the defense too.
Well, that first series where we came out and put a touchdown on the board, the defense basically had to say, okay, we've got an offense. Let's go win this fucking football game. Right? I mean, we don't have to play perfect. They got gashed on the one big touchdown run, and they didn't panic afterwards because they know we actually have a guy on the offense. We'll get points, go play fundamental sound football, and everything will work out. Whereas last year it was like, well, unless we pull off some magic shit and score 3 touchdowns on defense, we can't beat a good opponent. Which is basically a little bit of what they did against Alabama. Kind of that was a little bit. 14 of those points are really from the Kip 6, and then Eli Bowen's interception really set up that other touchdown.
Right.
You have that. You have those plays today.
They weren't putting up points. Right.
Yeah,
they weren't putting up points and were scared. Right.
Yeah.
But it wasn't the same today.
No, it wasn't. It was. Mateer to me. He had 350 yards of total offense, and everyone's like, I just saw a review and they're like, well, you still can't run the ball. I'm like, well, I just saw our quarterback put up 74 yards rushing. It all counts, man. It counts. It's something defensive coordinators have to adjust to. It's something that defenses have to adjust to, and it's all going to open stuff up for OU.
At some point, people are going to have to just give them credit for what they are. And you know what? It doesn't have to be perfect today. It doesn't. No. These are the kind of wins that turn into you get better at this spot and then this spot. You're supposed to get better from week to week, man.
Yeah, and again, we left some points on the field. The field goal, and we threw a pick, and we gave them the Satania fumbling that punt, kind of got them back into the game a little bit. But overall, again, 13 points, holding your opponent to under 300 yards offense. We're putting up 24, 27 points. Again, it's winning football, guys. I don't know how else to say it. If you're having a problem nitpicking that, I don't think you understand football, because what we did tonight was winning football and won the game.
Man, how sweet would it have been if Blaylock didn't get tripped up on that last play. That was a great call. That was a great call.
And it was only matched by a great play by an future NFL linebacker.
Yeah,
we're going to play lots of people who won't come close to tackling Blaylock on that. and he walks in the end zone.
Yes. Shout out to Javonte Boards tonight. I thought on the screen, some of the short yardage stuff, he played hard, running through the trash, trying to play between the tackles. Looked at my uncle a little bit like like, you see that guy? That guy
Where the
was
hell has that been?
yeah, where the hell has that been? Like it was just hard-nosed running, man, north and south. Mateer as well. I know the knock on us right now, the Orange Bloods, as I'm calling them right now, they are trying to say that he's our whole offense. We don't have a run game. I think that we do have a run game, but we're still
Who
trying
cares
to
what they think? Who gives a shit? It all
yeah,
counts. Just like
yeah.
Chris said.
Again, I'm. This is my mantra for the year, right?
Yeah.
It's a Chinese proverb. Do you care if the cat is black or white? All I give a shit about, does it catch mice? Right? And for you guys, it's a yin yang. That's sort of that's where it's coming from. It's nothing racist about the cat. It could be a gray cat. It could be a red cat. It could be a purple cat. 150.
Racist, Chris Mason.
Yes, right. Yes, I am. I'm just saying that. Again, OU rushed for 146 yards. Who fucking cares who got it?
Yeah.
Yep.
And if you do, then you're like, and if you do, I'm like, another proverb for you. Why don't you focus on the forest, not the trees? And the forest had 146 yards rushing. And I don't care that our 3 running backs added up to, that Mateer outrushed everybody. I predicted he would do
The
that,
Orange
by the
Bloods
way.
need to worry about Arch Manning not being able to handle pressure whatsoever.
I mean, they need to worry about the fact that he looked like ass to start their football game. If it wasn't for San Jose State DBs like eating their feet on the turf in there and just playing terribly. I mean, San Jose State was in that game. Texas needs to worry about their
San
schedule.
Jose State. I heard Steven saying the other day that's not a good football team. We should beat them by blah 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 blah. Bro, they hung around for way too long. Too long.
Yeah, I mean it's just crazy that again, do I want Mateer to be our leading rusher every game? No, but it got it done tonight, and that's all that matters.
Apache said, "I'd like to have the backs be more of the running game, but it's what we needed tonight, and Mateer is healthy. I think that's all that matters. Chris Mason, real quick, man. What were some names that you heard or that you saw or whatnot as far as recruiting? What were some names that popped up that weren't necessarily on everybody's radar?
Well, I mean, the first thing that's been publicized widely is Cooper Hackett's at the game wearing an OU polo. I thought he was committed to Texas Tech. Maybe that's not as strong a commitment as Texas Tech would like it to be. Piece of news, OU offered Julian Caldwell tonight. Big-time wide receiver for 2027. Great on film. OU's getting heavily involved in that recruiting. And, guys, Peyton Houston was in Norman tonight. He is deciding in 9 days, and he can't see USC again. And the USC homer guy has already predicted him to OU. And Houston will be a ringleader for the 2027 recruiting class. That's a guy people gravitate towards, and OU could lock him up in about 9 days. And I think if I saw the offense tonight and I'm Peyton Houston, I'm like, Arbuckle knows what the hell he's doing, and if I'm in that offense, I'm going to be featured and making big plays. So a lot of the recruits haven't. I mean, obviously, all the verbals got together for a team photo. It's good looking stuff. But it's going to take a day or two for most of the recruiting stuff to come through. But OU, I've not heard of anybody big time not being there that was supposed to be there. I don't think that KJ Ford came in. And at this point, OU's got 3 defensive end recruits, and Alabama's fishing around Matthew Nelson, and Daniel Norman's probably going to get more offers. So I think OU probably needs to just stand pat. Haven't heard anything about Daniel McMorris, the Norman North offensive lineman. Haven't heard if he got an offer yet. If he did, that might be a very quick turnaround for a verbal. But again, it's really going to have to unpack this over the next couple of weeks. Chris, because there's just so many guys that were there,
Yeah.
and so many guys that OU has connections with. You know, Trenton Blaylock was there tonight. I mean, and how do you not make Trenton Blaylock a focus at cornerback recruiting after watching what his brother's doing at running back?
Yeah.
I mean, you know, how do you not do that? So he's there. He's like a 3-star, which we know is just silly based upon what we're seeing out of his brother, Torrey. Darius Johnson was there. The number 1 cornerback in the country was there for 2027.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you just had a cavalcade of stars there, and they, according to everything I'm hearing and reading, they all made it in. I mean, there may be 1 or 2 names that dropped off, but the big names all made it in. And it was a great performance, and we now have a scouting staff that was with them during the entire game because, you know, those guys aren't coaching.
Yeah.
And so we can have more kids come in and make a bigger deal out of it because we've got the GM, Arbuckle, can be working that crowd all freaking game, right? He can be talking to Peyton Houston after plays. He can be talking to Cooper Hackett. Look, we play freshmen. You come here, we're gonna get you on the field. You know, I think we're gonna see a big carryover from this, and it was a huge win. And you know, you have to tell me because obviously from TV it looked awesome, but the crowd and everything, the whole atmosphere seemed electric.
I mean,
it was unreal.
I'm gonna say it before Eichert says it tomorrow on his show. The student section showed up and was live from the get-go. It's one of those, you know, usually OU games, everybody's there, but everybody's outside, everybody's at the concession stand. Hell no. Around about 5 o'clock, as soon as about 4:45, everybody was piling in to the stadium. Around about 5:15 or so, it started to get packed, and after that, you know, you heard rumblings there was going to be a lot of Michigan fans there, and there were a bunch of Michigan fans there tonight.
There were a bunch. My section was full of them.
It was a bunch of Michigan fans, but I will say this right here: we showed up loud and proud, and we got to the business, man.
My place was loud, man. It was louder. It was loud last year against Tennessee. When I was there, but I'm telling you, it was louder tonight. It stayed that way too. It was just constant that, you know, we were on our feet the entire game, man. It was rare that you saw anybody sit down, and it was just, man, to me, electric atmosphere, and the way that they came out and played. Look, I think there's so much room for improvement, but we don't win that game. We don't win that game a year ago or 2 years ago even. You know, so because you didn't always have your best stuff, and the turnovers would have killed you a couple of years ago. Yeah. You know, they just would have. So to me, it stayed in, and I loved it that the crowd stayed in it and kept them in it because, man, I was worried, you know, that last drive, and to go over 8 minutes on that last drive, 16 plays, man, I think you're going to look back on, there's a chance you look back at the end of the year and say, that was as important as anything that happened all year was that drive right there to seal a win over a quality program.
And not put our defense out there for 3 possessions in the fourth quarter, having to just, you know what I'm saying? Just Michigan got like 1 possession, and we already had a two-score lead, and that's why they didn't really do anything. I mean, you know, you to not put the defense have to be out there like 3 times to stop 3 Michigan drives, to just limit them to 1 drive. I know OU's up by 11. It was massive.
So big.
It's massive.
So big, yeah. No doubt about it. No doubt about it, man. And I remember looking at the clock at like 11 minutes left and thinking, shit, we're going to get this ball back here. And we need to put something together, and I'm telling you that it was like 9:50 left, and the guy, the baseball player, Houston, the pitcher, is his dad, and he was like, they need to run some time off of this thing. You need to get 5-6 minutes off the clock here at least. And I was like, man, I agree. Nah, they did them one better. You know what I mean? They went a full 8.5 minutes like that, and I looked at the clock and told him afterwards, I was like, dude, you see that? I was like, they just squirreled away the whole game right there. And it's such a big deal because, man, last year, I don't care if it's perfect or not. And it did. I mean, I get it. Everything wasn't beautiful and pretty and what we're used to from Lincoln Riley's offenses and stuff like that. But you also, when you had those offenses, they would have went down and scored, and you would have given them those 3 possessions Chris Mason was just talking about. Because flat out, they just didn't understand. They have never understood Lincoln's never understood complimentary football. Doesn't even bother with it.
And Levy definitely wouldn't have. We'd have had 3 possessions given back into Levy too. Although we got a big win tonight, so props to him.
Hey, props to Jeff. Yeah, that was big for them. I mean, all the Arizona State love, dude. What about fucking South Florida beats the freaking Gators in the swamp, bro?
Yeah, they gave the UF.
Chris, what was that you were saying the other
night?
Hey,
before we wander off to that, because we can come back tomorrow and talk to that. Let's keep it focused on here. I got people in the chat.
Oh yeah, I bet you want to keep it focused.
Hold on, man. Hold on. I got people in the chat because that's what I'm saying. We got comments that's going. We celebrating, but we got comments. People are talking about Javonte Bourne. Shout out to him. Saying that, he was their surprise player of the game for a bunch of people. I like this comment here. Clem Curry says, I will be there in a game that we least expected. We have a stable of running backs that can take off at any moment against any team. I do believe that. I think it's coming. I think it's coming, people. Let's see. Yeah. What Unc said. Shout out to the Michigan fans that were here. Man, we sat with a bunch, man. Hell, I exchanged some info with one, even picked up a couple subscribers for us all, man. The Michigan fans were really cool. They were classy, man. I didn't have any problems with them, man. They were, trust me, they were very rah-rah whenever they made something good, but they took it in stride. They were good sports about everything. So they even had good things to say about other teams, but we won't talk about those. Guys,
we got a couple in our section that were a little different, but they were cool for the most part. And then it was funny at the end, when they started getting up and leaving. It was like, oh, go ahead, Blue, just go.
Yep. Man, guys, let's see. So just kind of going, just going off of that game, man. It's just so many different things that are going through my mind. Defense stepped up every single time they were out there. As far as your offense, hold on one second. Let me try to pull up those stats real quick. Chris Mason, you got those stats on deck real quick?
Yeah, I do.
Go ahead, let them know.
So OU's offense or the defense?
Offense.
Okay, so John Mateer was 21 of 34 for 270 yards, 1 TD, 1 interception, averaged 7.9 yards per pass, per attempt. On the rushing side of the ball, 40 attempts, 138 yards for 3.5 average. Mateer had 19 carries for 74 yards, 3.9. Javonte Barnes, 6 carries for 24 yards, 4 yards a carry. Torrey Blaylock, 9 carries for 24 yards, 2.7. Ott, 4 carries, 9 yards, 2.3. Satenya had an 8-yard had an 8-yard rushing attempt as well. So again, it's the jab, right? Mm-hmm. It's the jab. The running game is going to be the jab to our overhead right, which is our big time passing game. Then on receiving, Deion Burke, 7 receptions, 101 yards, long of 34. Jaron Kanik, 5 for 69, long of 31. Isaiah Satenya, 4 for 44, long of 36. Keontae Lewis, 3 for 36 for 18. Javonte Barnes with 1 massive reception for 16 yards. And then Torrey Blaylock got caught on that swing pass where he almost scored for 4 yards. But again, you're 4 guys in the wide receiver group making plays and being big-time targets. You've got 3 players, again, with a reception, over 25, over 30 yards. we just never had this last year. You just didn't have a dynamic passing game. You didn't have wide receivers making plays. And I know Kanik is a tight end, but he's an H-back. We'll call him a receiver. And when there was Satania had to drop. There's meat on the bone there. There's as well as Mateer and the guys played, there were more players out there. I mean, again, if Kanik could have made that one catch in the end zone off the double reverse flea flicker thing, I mean, that would have been 28, and that would have been great. I mean, it's a lot to build from, and it's a lot to for a brand new offense. I mean, Baker wasn't so obviously Michigan was in Norman versus Tennessee on the road, but Mateer had a better day than Baker did the first time he played tough competition.
Mm-hmm. And it's very reminiscent of kind of that team early on,
the 15 team.
Yeah, simply because it took Lincoln a second to realize, hey, I have Piron and I have Mixon back here. I can get busy with those two instead of having to put everything on Baker. And it felt like once we figured that out, we were off to the races. So that's the whole thing. That's the beauty of it. Is just that kind of what you guys are saying and the recruiting philosophy, how that's changing a little bit. Excuse me. For the most part, Venables and crew have always been those type of recruiters as far as, hey, we don't need the 5-star that's already basically capped out, right? We don't mind taking the 3-star, the 4-star that still has a lot of room, but has higher upside, right? A raw athlete that we can teach how to play football and do what we need to do. But with that being said, that's kind of how this team is just overall. It's a team that we're still pretty raw, but we're able to put it together. And I think that, again, once this thing is refined a bit, and then we have solidified our rotations, I think we're going to be a problem. I think we're going to be a tough out for a lot of people.
So this is an article by Steve Wiltfong about the recruits at the game. So this is from Rivals. So you've got Zane Rowe, who's talking about how great the environment was. He's talking about the two masterminds who pour into the defensive line, talking about Chavis and Todd Bates. You've got Montre Jackson, who is so guys, my Patreon, I talk about all of these guys. I just posted an article today talking about all of these players. So if you don't know who they are, go to my Patreon at patreon.com. Go to patreon.com, search for Sooners 360, sign up for a free trial, and you can read about every one of these guys that I'm talking about. So Montre Jackson, a top cornerback. The environment is crazy. It's bigger than last year when they played Alabama. I really enjoyed it and just love the at-home feeling I get at OU, and they always make me feel welcome. Eli Johnson, a huge safety from San Antonio who Ohio State and Texas want. Mm-hmm. That's who OU's battling. He's like, the environment was electric. It was crazy. What excites me, it was definitely seeing the defense making big stops, the energy of the stadium, the fans. Coach Venables is definitely different. Having the opportunity to play for him and Coach Hall is nothing but a huge blessing. And then Julian Caldwell is the new wide receiver I talked about, who's flying up the recruiting charts. And he's like, the atmosphere here tonight was an unbelievable experience. I love how pumped up everyone was from start to finish. I love the crowd's energy. It was contagious towards the players. I like the passing game offense they run. And I feel like this is a team I can see myself really succeeding on. So that's just some initial feelings from guys. Tyler Ruxer was at the game tonight. It was great to be back in Norman for the game against Michigan. A big part of the reason I chose Oklahoma was to play in big games, and that's exactly what this was. I'm excited about how the football team is going to continue to get better, and I love how the offense is utilizing the tight end. That's from their number one tight end recruit.
That's all good stuff, man. That is all really good stuff.
It is.
I am, guys. I'm just, man. I'm really excited. I'm really excited about this team and about the potential of this team. It all starts next week again. it all starts next week. We got to go up there and handle business. And this time, let's put this team away early and let's get guys in there, rotate a lot of guys in to go ahead and get them snaps and get them time and stuff like that. But guys, this is a big win, man. This is a big win, and this is a lot of just because of momentum. And it's something that BV needed. It's something that Arbuckle needed. It confirms a lot of our thoughts from the get-go. We thought we would be here. Again, the goal was to be 5-0 going into Red River. But we'll talk about that once we get there. But again, like I said, right now, the short-term goal, just be 4-0 going into the bye. That's all that you can ask for right now. But you got decent tests next week. Should get them by a lot. But then again, we've seen crazy things happen in college football, especially today. It was just bonkers. But guys, just kind of give your overall thoughts. We don't have to be on here too much longer, so we've been on here almost an hour. But give your last thoughts, and if any of your predictions from that we made on Thursday changed as far as MVPs and all the rest of that.
I would say. I predict Kobe McKenzie had a big game, but obviously Owen Heineke played really well tonight. But I think Kobe played really well. Offensive MVP, John Mateer, I predicted 20-17. So I said that Michigan would cover, and they didn't, so I blew that. But I did say I did have Blaylock. I did say Blaylock would be the leading. I said I did have Mateer and Burks as leading rushers and leading receivers. So I got that right. But overall, it's a big day, big win. It's all the momentum we needed to push up the hill to keep going, right? Can you beat Auburn if you'd lost tonight? You could, but it feels a lot better that I have chances of beating Auburn after winning tonight.
Hey, real quick, Coach Ricks had a couple of super chats in here. Walk-on was the MVP of the game on defense, and then he said, love the I formation called. Wow. So appreciate that out of Coach Ricks. Shout out to him.
Yeah, I mean, Arbuckle just showing he understands complementary football, right? He understood he needed to throw an attack early. Then he understood I need to ice this game, and this is what we're going to do to ice it.
Jason, what are your overall thoughts, and you can comment on any of your predictions that you made on Thursday as well.
Yeah, man, I just wanted to, obviously the biggest thing for me was just the fact that, they didn't play perfect and still found a way, you know what I mean? And this was a game to me that was very, very, very important to win because you had some advantages in having a defense like this with, look, I don't think there's any doubt of who was the better defense. I don't know that you're going to go up against a better defense necessarily, but I don't think there was a doubt of who was actually the better defense. That being said, you go up against a team like this, and more times than not, since Brent Venables has got here, and since, listen, we can say whatever we want, but the bottom line is that this team had been torn down when he got here. It's taken some time to get it back, but we hadn't seen this kind of a win in so long that, to me, this is as important as it got. And if you found a way to lose this thing, this could have sent this season into a tailspin early. Because I think that for nothing else, you needed these kids to believe that they could come up big in a situation like this. You know what I mean? And these are the kind of things that turn seasons around for the better. And so, look, I think that these are the kind of things to be able to get through the mistakes and find a way to win anyway. And I think it's as big as it gets, man. That's really all I got really right now.
No, I agree with you 1,000% on everything you said, man. It's just a huge win. This is a win that we have been calling for, and this is a win that further proves why we should put last year in the rear view if you haven't, and we should give this team every opportunity to just be themselves, right? Team 131, let them be Team 131. Team 130, we know what that was. Team 131, this could potentially be different. At the very least, you're giving yourself a fighting chance every game. And I think what we saw across the nation today and the past 2 weeks or so, right? It's kind of wide open out there. There are a lot of teams that are still trying to figure things out. And then when you look across the rest of the SEC, some of these first-time quarterbacks, starting the whole season or just starting period, it's a lot of different factors that come into it. Guys got to be able to, be consistent and also just understand the X's and O's that need to be executed. So, no, this is just a big win, man. It's a big win, step in the right direction. I think the beauty of it all is the simple fact that a lot of the mistakes made tonight are correctable, right? Maybe maybe they pull Mateer aside and say, "Hey, you got to put some air under the ball. Our guys are getting behind those DBs. Keontae Lewis is open, but you have to lead him. You have to throw. You have to give your wide receivers a chance. Satania, hey, we get it. You want to make a play? Don't have to make a play every time. We just need the ball, right? Things on special teams, just make sure you clean it up. I'm sure Tate Sandell is going to kick himself for missing that gimme that we all know isn't within his range. So we will go from there. But I think that's the great part about that, is that a lot of the stuff that you saw tonight, you can fix it. And I think the old line is only going to get better. Did they play an amazing game? I don't think they played an amazing game, but it was good enough to accomplish what you need to accomplish. I think the thing is that you're just laying the groundwork. This is the game right here that helps you lay the groundwork. And I think that the defense has a chance to go from elite to special. But I want to see some guys circle back in over there on that side. But I think that the offense still has two more gears to get to. And I think that's one, just getting some key guys back. But two, I think just when you are able to establish that run, which I believe there's going to be a game or two where you're just running the ball at will. I think that's going to be another key to unlocking the next phase of this offense that you really want. But spreading, that was the interesting part, is that you spread them as thin as you possibly can get them to spread. And I saw Michigan. It felt Michigan was still attacking, but Michigan felt uncomfortable simply because they were stretched so much. And the thing was that those trips to the left, or those trios, or those bunch formations that we ran, it gave them a lot of problems simply because they had to really figure out, okay, what are they trying to accomplish? Which guy is going to be the guy that's just trying to hit a quick hitch? Who's going to be the guy that's trying to hit that dig route, or that little skinny post, right? Where is Kanik going to be? Kanik caught it was a screen for him, and he caught that and turned it upfield, and think he got a first down. It was beautiful. So, I mean, it's just things like that right there where we just got to keep this momentum. And that, again, that starts next weekend with Temple.
No doubt. I think it's big, man. It's big. It's as big. But I think you do. This was a stepping stone. This was a start of something. I think if you end up making a playoff run, you're going to come back to this game right here and talk about the physical way that you played, the way that they were able to salt this away and get a win in a game that we wouldn't have won, over the last 3 years. We would not have won this game because we've lost too many of them, those one-score games, So I think if you end up in the playoff, and if you do, I mean, nobody's going to want to see this Oklahoma team in the playoff. I promise you that. But there's a lot of football left to play. I get it. But I'll tell you this, if you get there, this is going to be the start of it right here.
One last thing that I want to commend that's going to be a note nobody talks about, simply because as Bill Belichick would say, or what I think he would say, thanks for doing your job. BV game management, it improved tonight. It felt like it improved. The timeout that he called defensively, I thought it was very appropriate when he called it. Literally, I was watching Peyton Bowen. Peyton Bowen was screaming. Crowd was going crazy. Peyton Bowen was screaming and pointing and could not get the call over there to, I believe it was Guillory who was over there. So he was trying to get some signals, and because they had recognized the play, they figured out what they needed to run, and it wasn't there. Being able to drain 8+ minutes off the clock was just, I mean, it was phenomenal. I mean, it was, you're looking up there and you're like, it's over, right? So no, I think game management was a big thing for us tonight. I think that's something that's going to go under the radar, but definitely wanted to point that out. Guys, with that being said, man, look, we've been on here for an hour. It's damn near 12:40 right now. Get some sleep. Everybody's excited. We will be back most likely tomorrow with even more. Just kind of let this sink in and actually just talk this out. So with that being said, Chris Mason, Jason, you guys ready to go?
Yep.
All right. With that being said, we out of here.